What if your negative body image and complicated relationship with food isn't really about food at all? What if it's more about your nervous system trying to cope with something that happened to you? And what if you could do something that didn't require just raw willpower? If you or someone you care about has an unhealthy relationship with food or struggles with poor body image, this video is for you. Today I'm going to cover what eating concerns and body image struggles look like, 10 signs that a person has an unhealthy relationship with food or body image, the role trauma can play in these struggles, a synopsis of EMDR therapy and why it can be an effective treatment approach. And at the end, I'll give you 5 reasons why EMDR therapy is one of my go-to therapies for helping my clients overcome these issues. But before we go any further, hi there, I'm Ashley Phillips. I'm a clinical counselor with over 10 years of experience and the founder of the Kelowna EMDR clinic. Helping clients develop a positive body image and a healthy relationship with food is something I've been interested in since really the start of my career. I've taken training specific to this issue, including the MB Eat, which is a mindfulness-based eating course. And if it's your first time to this channel, welcome. I cover all things trauma, life and private practice, and my favorite therapy, EMDR. If you're interested in any of these topics, I invite you to subscribe to my channel so that future videos will appear directly in your feed. An unhealthy relationship with body image and food is something I'm really quite familiar with because I've struggled with it as well. For me, food is something I've struggled with from my teens to my early 30s, and at one point I was engaging in binge eating behaviors and I got help before it turned into a disorder. And body image is still something that I continue to work on. So body image is how people see themselves related to their body and their physical appearance. It's how you think and feel about your body. It may or may not be grounded in reality and the way that the person actually looks. And size doesn't matter. An objectively overweight person and an objectively underweight person can both have either a negative or a positive body image. It's always about how they see themselves. Body image is much narrower in scope than self-esteem, although body image can very much affect your self-esteem. A couple weeks ago, I did a video on identity, self-esteem, and belonging, and the role EMDR therapy can play in boosting self-esteem and working through negative beliefs. So it's definitely worth checking out, and I'll put a link in the description below. Poor body image can affect you in a number of different ways. A person with a negative body image can experience shame, disgust, anxiety, and depression, and they will also often lack confidence. This can translate into poor performance at work or at school and how they present in social circles, in their relationships, and it impacts their overall quality of life. And taking poor body image to an extreme, it can manifest as body dysmorphic disorder or BDD. And this is a mental health disorder where a person is so preoccupied with their body and their perceived flaws in their appearance that it interferes with their daily life. So BDD can affect any person of any age, but it's more common with teens and young adults. There is tremendous societal pressure in North America on having a thin body because this is what has been defined as the beauty standard. And this is bombarded on little beings from the beginning. So kids are these little sponges absorbing lots of information, and some of the information is direct, what we are told about our bodies and what we see in our families. Does anyone else remember their mom being on a diet when they were kids? I still remember so clearly how my mom would only eat tuna right out of the can for dinner when she was on one of her diets. And then other times it's very indirect, like what we see in marketing, advertising, magazines, pop culture, and now social media and all the editing features that seems to be doing the equivalent of pouring gasoline on a campfire. A person's body image can be so often closely connected to their relationship with food. I've been talking with a number of people who work with youth in getting ready for this video, and I always find it so hard to hear that most girls are obsessed with looking thin and that even the anorexic look from the 90s is coming back. And just a side note, a body cannot be a fashion trend. It just can't be. But an intense focus on looking thin, especially at an early age, can set up a person for having unhealthy relationships with food and their bodies. At times, in order to understand one thing, I find it useful to examine the opposite. So what are the behaviors of a person who has a healthy relationship with food? Generally speaking, they eat a pretty balanced diet that includes fats, carbs, and protein needed to fuel their body and support their health. They don't spend a lot of time thinking about food. They eat when they're hungry, they stop when they're full, they enjoy food. Nothing is considered off limits. Food is just food. A person who has an unhealthy relationship with food, on the other hand, will likely be obsessed or preoccupied with their food choices. They may count every calorie. They may avoid broad food groups, food categories, or even consume like a very limited range of foods. Needless to say, if you're doing this for like disease management or because you're allergic, that's totally different. Someone who has celiac disease, they cannot eat gluten because it triggers an autoimmune response, or someone who has diabetes, they have to keep track of everything they eat and drink to manage their blood sugar. A person with a negative relationship with food can either severely restrict their food intake or, on the other spectrum, overeat to the point of discomfort and pain. They will feel like out of control when it comes to food, like binging or not being able to control what they eat or how much. When binging is a problem, a person will often feel guilty or ashamed of their food choices. They use food as a coping mechanism, mainly when stressed, or to help not feel their feelings. And in some cases, a person can purge or engage in a cycle of binging and purging. When it comes to movement, people may engage in over-exercising to try to control their shape of their bodies or avoid exercising because they're embarrassed or ashamed of their bodies. And recently I read there's a rise in exercise-induced rhabdomyolysis. I think that's it. A short story is when it's an incredibly painful disease when you work out too hard, too quickly. We don't have research for the why, but the trend of doing HIIT programs too intensely can be the link. And let's be clear, these workouts are not bad. HIIT workouts are fantastic. The problem is when you go beyond what your physical limitation is. When someone is struggling with their body image, it's not always obvious. Here are my top 10 behavioral clues to pay attention to. They criticize their own looks, or they're fixated on these minor flaws that no one even notices. They exercise an excessive amount, with appearance being the primary motivation. They avoid social engagements, and even more so when food is involved. They try to hide their body behind clothing and scarves and more. Needing constant reassurance about how they look. Like, do I look fat in this? They obsess over their weight or other metrics like body fat percentage. They are constantly checking themselves in the mirror. They may undergo cosmetic procedures or have plastic surgery. They compare their appearance to others. They believe, I love this one, they believe that if they are thinner, they will be happier. That's not true. Negative body image and an unhealthy relationship with food can develop for many reasons. This is a very complex issue. It comes from media, early childhood experiences, and one relatively common reason is past small t traumas or distressing experiences in childhood or adolescence. And I like to always show this with examples, and these are all fictitious, but they are based on experiences that we see in our practice fairly regularly and through case studies. First, consider Annie. She was a bigger kid early in life. In gym class, the other kids did not want her on their team. She was teased and made fun of pretty regularly because of her body size. And she developed a pretty deep dislike of her body. In high school, she started dieting. With time, Annie lost weight, and of course, she began receiving compliments on her appearance, serving as a positive reinforcement to the path that she was on. She developed a belief that she needs to be thin in order to be liked and have friends. As an adult, Annie is on a strict, calorie-restricted diet, and she exercises at least 2 hours every day. As a consequence of this, she's lost her period. But that's all fine as far as Annie's concerned, because Annie's not going to have children. She knows that women typically put on weight during pregnancy, and she does not want that to happen. Next, consider Michael. During puberty, he developed a lot of acne, which made him rather self-conscious. His self-esteem and his confidence suffered. On several occasions, he took that leap of faith and he made romantic gestures, but he was rejected. And over time, he just stopped trying and he withdrew from people. And even though his acne resolved as he grew up, it did leave a little bit of scarring on his face. Michael continues to be very self-conscious about his appearance. He tends to be shy and quiet at work, so he doesn't stand out. The unfortunate downside is that over the last few years, 3 of his colleagues got promotions while he remained in the same role. Michael's lack of confidence continues to affect his dating life because the thought of asking someone brings up really painful memories of rejection and generally fills him with dread. Finally, let's look at Rose. She was the unfortunate victim of sexual abuse as a child. As she grew up, she noticed that if her body was bigger, boys didn't pay attention to her. She naturally made a connection that she needs to be overweight in order to be safe. As an adult, she continues to use food as a coping mechanism. Rose has early onset diabetes and a number of health challenges. She doesn't like the way she looks, but she prefers this than being abused. As you can see, when we examine the beliefs behind our behaviors in adulthood, there's often a distressing experience or trauma at the root. This is where EMDR therapy comes in. EMDR is a trauma therapy originally used to treat PTSD. With time, clinicians started to experiment its application to other conditions linked to trauma. EMDR stands for Eye Movement Desensitization and Reprocessing and was developed by psychologist Francine Shapiro in the 1980s. It has been widely researched and it's very effective for treating trauma and trauma-related conditions like anxiety, mood disorders, low self-esteem, negative body image, unhealthy relationship with food, and others. Your brain and nervous system can cope and heal from trauma on its own, but there are times when the mind gets stuck on a traumatic experience and it's not able to heal. This is when PTSD and other trauma-related conditions manifest. So EMDR therapy helps to loosen the stuck trauma, allowing the natural healing to resume. This not only reduces the emotional intensity of what happened, but another really cool positive consequence is that the resolution of associated trauma-related conditions. That's why it's recognized as an effective treatment by top global health organizations, including the World Health Organization, the American Psychological Association, the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs in Canada, as well as health authorities of several countries like the UK, Ireland, Netherlands, Israel, and France. If you're interested in learning more about EMDR therapy, I have other videos on my channel that I encourage you to check out, including a deeper dive into all 8 phases of EMDR. I'll put the link in the description below. While there's a number of approaches to treating negative body image and unhealthy relationship with food, let me give you 5 reasons why I believe EMDR might be at the top of your list. Reason number 1, EMDR clears the path for your brain and nervous system to do what it already knows what to do. As I said before, our bodies already know how to heal from trauma and distressing experiences. EMDR therapy is not about learning new behaviors or trying different tactics, it's about removing obstacles to healing and getting out of the way. I personally really like that as a therapist. Number 2 is that it treats the root, not the symptoms. EMDR therapy will help you find where your negative body image comes from in the first place. Your therapist will then help you reprocess those memories so they lose their emotional charge and their significance. And I love this about EMDR. This is where I like the weeds in the lawn analogy, where many therapies are like mowing the lawn to keep the weeds in check. EMDR, on the other hand, removes the weeds by the root. Reason number 3, get results fast. Talk therapy often can take a long time, years even, to unearth and shift core beliefs around body image and your relationship with food. EMDR can work a lot faster in a matter of months and sometimes weeks. Less time in therapy means less money spent and more time for you to feel good. If the idea of faster results has a strong appeal for you, I encourage you to take a look at EMDR intensives. This is where we do several months of therapy in one day. And I did a video on EMDR intensives a while back, and I'll leave a link in the description below. Number 4, I demonstrated earlier how poor body image can be linked to childhood trauma. The nice part about EMDR is that it doesn't require you to recount, recall, or relive your distressing memories in painstaking detail. Unlike other talk therapies, EMDR focuses on processing past experiences through your brain and nervous system, not through verbal analysis. Number 5, EMDR doesn't have a lot of homework for you to do. Between sessions, I simply ask my clients to keep a brief journal on how they're doing so that we can stay kind of abreast of what's going on. With body image, though, there may be more homework to do because it's really important to get that psychoeducation and to relearn some things to make EMDR flow well during the reprocessing phase. By now, you can hopefully see that if you want to improve your body image or change your relationship with food, practicing positive self-talk or jumping on the latest diet or exercise trend is probably not going to do it completely. Instead, and especially if you want lasting results, it's important to deal with the root of the problem. Through my years of experience as a clinical counselor, helping my clients with these very issues, I'm a very firm believer that EMDR therapy is one of the best therapies for the task if poor body image is a result of distressing experiences in childhood. If you found this video interesting, why don't you give it a thumbs up? And if you've got a question about EMDR, put it in the comments below. If you're curious to try EMDR, this next video I think is one you should watch. It's on the possible side effects of EMDR therapy, and it's going to help you better understand what to expect and why. I'll see you over there.